An update on an exclusive story we first brought you last week about the Delaware River Port Authority. Late today, we learned that the state comptroller's office is now investigating. That as the Christie administration today says it finds aspects of that report, quote, troubling. This as some lawmakers are demanding an investigation. NJN's report revealed allegations of wasteful spending and big salaries and perks. Some say the governor wants to rein in, something that the governor does want to rein in, and the bi-state agency does not appear to follow its own compacts or bylaws. Statehouse correspondent Zachary Fink broke the story after a weeks-long investigation, and he brings us this update.
The Delaware River Port Authority, a bi-state agency for New Jersey and Pennsylvania, takes in roughly $240 million in toll and fare money each year. Tolls went up in 2008 and are scheduled to rise by $1 again in 2011. But in an exclusive report, NJN News revealed that the agency pays its officers nearly $200,000 a year in salaries plus $9,000 car allowances. In fact, the current safety director, Mike Joyce, also serves as township attorney for Pennsauken. The DRPA's bylaws are not easily accessible online, nor is the compact that established the agency. Michael Druniak is the press secretary for Governor Christie.
Well, we saw your report, and it was of significant concern to us. Those things that you mentioned are part of the problems that we're seeing in authorities across the state. As you're aware, this governor, since he's come in, has made, among his priorities, dealing with the authorities and doing some reforms.
NJN News first became aware of the potential waste and abuse at the DRPA after whistleblowers came forward with information. They approached the legislative office of the 24th District initially, which in turn passed along the information to NJN News. We then did our own investigation.
I really appreciate the fact that the employee took the time and also the guts to come forward with this information. And anytime there is an agency where they're not doing internal audits properly or they're not following their own rules, which is clearly what appears to be happening with this organization, we have to get to the bottom of it.
When NJN reached out to the DRPA for certain information, we were sent a letter informing us that the agency is not subject to the state's Open Public Records Law, or OPRA.
It's disheartening when you hear of people on these authorities that really have very little legislative oversight. And it's also disheartening as a working family, knowing that there's people out there that get fringe benefits, car allowances. Many of us drive to work to and from on our own, and then to find out that they can get pension credits from car allowances, it's very disheartening, especially as a legislator.
Gus Yor says he has asked the nonpartisan Office of Legislative Services to draft legislation preventing so-called perks like car allowances from being transferred into salaries in order to pad pensions. Although officers at the DRPA are in the Pennsylvania pension system, General Counsel Dick Brown admitted on camera that his $9,000 car allowance was recently added to his salary. We also learned that despite dealing with nearly $250 million a year in public money, the DRPA has no ethics policy. Several attempts to draft one, former employees told us, were thwarted.
The fact that they don't even have an ethics policy, frankly, I think is inexcusable. It shows a lack of leadership from the quote-unquote senior managers in that organization. It's inexcusable for any organization of any size, let alone a public organization, not to have an ethical policy. But we can see why they don't want one.
In addition, the DRPA appears to be in violation of its own bylaws, which state that triennial elections of their officers must take place. At least 2 of those elections were skipped in 2005 and 2008. And every 5 years, an audit must be conducted by an outside contractor. One may have been done but not completed in 2001 at a cost of $500,000. None was ever completed in 2006.
I'm looking forward to the governor speaking out as clearly as he's spoken out on the Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission, the excesses of the executive director there, what appears to be former Republican State Senator John Matheson has been the executive director of an agency that hasn't bothered to produce minutes, that hasn't bothered to have an outside audit as required by law. That is absolutely incorrect, inappropriate way they are dealing with taxpayer money.
NJN News also learned that the agency spent so-called economic development money on these windmills, which were placed on top of the Camden Aquarium. However, they were put in the wrong place due to an apparent engineering failure, and as a result, the windmills barely work.
The contract for the windmills is something that we will definitely be looking into. I would like to find out who was awarded the contract and what the specs were, why they were placed where they are, and get to the bottom of this issue.
It would be amusing if it wasn't such a waste of money. And you just got to wonder where the engineer was when he put them in backwards, it would seem. Even on a windy day, they don't seem to be moving very much or generating much electricity.
Mathewson's current term is up on July 17th. Unclear at this point if he will be reappointed. Governor Christie would not commit one way or the other. However, several lawmakers we spoke with say they'd like to see him step down. We reached out again today to the DRPA to see if they had any further comment, but we did not hear back. Zachary Fink, NJN News, the Statehouse.